Hello and welcome to another episode of Chats with Alden. Notice how I've lost count. So now it's another episode. Today we are in a hotel, which is why the lighting is slightly worse than I would like it to be. Although maybe you can just suck it up. I don't know. Maybe it's the end of the world for you. Yeah. So what are you gonna do? Just deal with it. So yeah, we're in a hotel because my parents are visiting. My brother is actually in the corner of the room, but he probably won't say anything because he doesn't say anything. So we're in a hotel with my parents visiting. Made sense. So we are actually at university. Normally you'd be in the room with the slightly better lighting than this one, where I'm kind of like yellow. But oh well. And being that my parents are visiting, I was reminded of university visits. And if any of you have been on these university visits, I find they mean different things to different people. Okay? So, for instance, some people at my college, when we hated everything and we were all angsty and we knew best, they took university visit trip things where you go and see where you're going to be living for the next 3 years, pretty significant, and they took them as an excuse to shop. So they had the day off college, and they would get a university trip and they'd go to 3 unis in Manchester and 3 unis in London, because those 2 places are the best shopping. So I think they were taking pretty good advantage of these university trips, although maybe not putting quite enough weight on the significance of the decision that they were they decided they would base off how good the shopping was. But you know, each their own. Manchester does have nice shopping. And then some people, like the Oxbridge candidates, they'd go and they'd sit down with professors and they'd sort of do informal mini interviews, or they'd talk to people who were already there and ask them how to do the interviews, and they'd sit down and they'd have tea and it'd be very nice, and they'd sort of decide if they thought they could get in. And then there's people like me who I think, judging off everyone else at these university visits, was in the majority. And do you know why I know that? I could see it all over their faces. Because when you go on this university visit, if you're like me, you're thinking, I'm here to decide what I'm going to spend 27 grand on to be taught, and what I'm going to spend 12 grand living in, and I'm going to live there for the next 3 years, and this is essentially going to be my life for the next 3 years, and I am basing whether I want to do that here off today. So a lot of weight goes on this one day where you're at this one place, and that makes me stressy. And naturally it also made my mother incredibly stressy. So for each other we became the 2 most irritating people in the known world, because I wanted to leave as soon as possible because I'm a home bird and I hate it there and it's stressful and I want it to be over. So I go and I see the accommodation and I'm like, right, I can live here, okay, we can go now. Because after the first 2 course talks, where you realise that all course talks are essentially 20 minutes of, yes, this course is very excellent, come and do it, please, we want your money. So that's actually why I chose this university partially, is because its course talk was pretty good. It was like a seminar, so, you know, it was more interesting. But then my mother, on the other hand, she has decided that she has a list of 5 questions, the answer to which does not change because they're not university specific. They're kind of like, what grants does the government have? How are A-levels coming along? Have people ever got in with lower grades than they need? Essentially saying, will you let my son in even though he's too thick for the grades you're asking? That sort of general questioning, which you can imagine gets tiresome. So she wants to do that, even though the answer's always the same. She wants to do it everywhere she goes. And then she wants to have tea in the city so you can see what it's like, which makes sense, but I hated it because I wanted to be home. And then she sees the accommodation, and then we go home. So I have a half-hour itinerary, and she has a 3-hour itinerary. And we're both really think like Alien, like the face huggers in Alien. That's what we're like at this instant. Sorry, I'm distracted because there's police engine, fire engine, police car going past. Can you hear it? I don't know if you can hear it. If you can, just deal with it. You can deal with police engines, right? The light's going, so we're gonna have to make this snappy. Where was I? Police engines. Oh yeah, face huggers. You know they were based off like phallic stuff and vaginas and things. Really creepy. Why are we talking about vaginas? See, this is how stressful university visits are. So yeah, I found them like to be the biggest ordeal ever. But so as not to get depressed if you are about to go on university visits and you are the kind of person that takes them very, very seriously. Like, can you see my eyes? Wow, wow. There they are. I imagine you can see them all the time. Like last video, I didn't think you could see them, and you could. And I talked about how you couldn't see them consistently, and you could. So I looked like a dummush. But you know, what are you gonna do? Where was I? Oh yeah, not depressing, you people who do stress about university visits. The expression, steel is forged in the fire, is applicable, I believe. What that means, if you don't speak nonsense, riddle garbage, is basically the steel is where you're going to be living and your course, and if it's hard, it's good. And if the fire is hot, it's going to be hard, and the fire is your argument. And the bigger the argument, the hotter the fire. So I can tell you, logically, I'd have some pretty freaking hard steel. And I have to say, pretty much love where I'm living and love my course. So yeah, steel is forged in the fire. Maybe just go with the intention to be really irritating, and then you'll get better accommodation. It's really science, logic thing. Those words. So yeah, there you go. There's my wisdom for the week. What's my outro? Okay, like, subscribe, comment below, please, please. Goodbye.